Okay, so when should you hire an agency, and when should you build something in-house, build out those in-house capabilities? It's a difficult question to answer. It kind of depends on your situation, depends on what it is that you're actually considering hiring an agency or an in-house person for. Um, so I'm just going to share my experiences with you today. So sometimes it's just a really simple maths situation. For example, let's say you have a business, you want to start spending 10K a month on ads, and you're thinking, okay, should I hire someone in house to run those for me, or should I work with an agency? So for this kind of ad spend level, sort of 10K a month, an agency that will be willing to work with you will probably charge something like 1 grand a month plus 10% of your ad spend, and that means that's going to cost you 2 grand. Now, can you hire a good in-house person to run your ads for 2 grand? Probably not. So you're probably better off working with the agency. Someone for 2 grand, maybe they're not going to be very good. Maybe they're not. They're going to be a beginner. They might not even know anything yet, or they've got a few different clients. So you're kind of getting the same experience that you're going to get with an agency anyway. Now, an agency at that level, if you're only worth 2K to them, you have to think their media buyer is probably costing them 6 grand. Maybe they want a nice profit margin on top of that. So maybe that media buyer is going to be working with 4 clients, 5 clients, maybe 6 clients. So you're going to get a decent job, but they're not going to be fully focused on your ads. They're not going to sit there thinking about your ads when they're in the shower or something. So ultimately, you do want to go in house and have someone who's just thinking about your ads, but it's just not cost effective for that kind of ad spend. Now, if you're spending, say, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, as you scale, suddenly it becomes a lot more obvious that you just want to hire in house. So that's what you have to think about. Now, with other services, it's not always that simple. For example, with SEO, do you want to hire an in house SEO person? It's not always a fair comparison with should we use an agency or should I hire in house. It also depends on what's your knowledge like. Are you going to hire an SEO apprentice type role for 3, 4, 5 grand a month? At that level, maybe they don't really know what they're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you can just waste a lot of money. Whereas an agency, for that kind of spend, you could probably get some decent SEO results and you don't have to figure out what you're doing. So it's not just about the economics, about, can I hire someone in house cheaper, or the ad buyer is cheaper, like the agency is cheaper. It's also about what's going to get you results. And it's kind of a push pull type situation. It's kind of it depends, because on the one hand, yeah, if you work with an agency, you're kind of leveraging the fact that they've got a team member who can take on a few different clients and still do a good job. So you're able to get the costs cheaper. But at the same time, some services you absolutely want focus. Now, with social media, let's say you want a ghostwriter to work for your company's social media platform, might be better to work with a social media agency rather than hire an in-house person. You're not going to get as good, you're not going to get amazingly better results if you work with an in-house person. But for other things, you absolutely want the focus of that in-house person, and so sometimes it might even be a judgment call. So for me, what I really like to do is, if it's a service I have no idea how to fulfill myself, or no one on my team knows how to fulfill, then I think hiring in-house is a lot riskier, because I'm not necessarily going to be able to work closely with that person and know if they're doing a good job, or if like the results aren't coming. Is it just because they suck, or is it because there's a product problem? How do you troubleshoot? Whereas if it's a service that I can tell if this person that I've hired is doing a good job or not, then yeah, it becomes a lot easier for me to say I'm going to hire in-house. And then the question becomes, do I hire someone, high level, 10K, 20K, 12K a year, a month, that kind of thing? Or do I hire someone a bit more newbie and I can teach them what to do? It just depends on the level of the work and how important it is, that they've got experience or not. If it's something that I don't know, that what I'll usually do is work with an agency, but I'll try to find either an agency where I know the founder, I trust them, or I can get a referral from someone else who I know has had good results from using an agency, and then I'll try and work closely with the agency to understand what it is that they're doing, and what things are going to drive the levers to getting results. And then maybe at some point, I'm either going to say, you know what, this agency's crush it, I'm going to just keep letting them do it, or I'm going to say, this agency's doing okay, but I think now we'll benefit more and we'll get better returns if we hire in-house. So it's not always about the economics. Sometimes it's just about ultimately what's going to drive results in the most profitable way possible.